Hello, I'm Dr. Joseph Fox. I'm an associate professor of practice at the University of Akron in the Department of Management, and I'm the director of the Fitzgerald Institute for Entrepreneurial Studies. So what I want to talk about today are some presentation type of skills and some things that you can do to work on being a presenter as an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, you're spending a lot of time explaining to people what it is that your product, service, or your offering is actually doing. Whether what kind of value it's bringing to someone, how it works, you're trying to sell it, you're trying to help with a customer support, whatever that might be, there's a lot of time that you actually spend doing those kind of things. There are a lot of presentations that you actually have to do in order to be an entrepreneur. That's why behind me you can see I've got my green screen theater background, because there's a lot of skills that we can get from theater and performance that really help us in being an entrepreneur. We don't necessarily want to make it an act, but there's a lot of skills that these kind of artists have that can be mimicked from an entrepreneurial perspective. So there's a lot of great entrepreneurial research out there that talks about the value of things like improv and actually doing improvisation to help build your skills as an entrepreneur. So one way that you can actually improve your entrepreneurial communication skills: practice some improv. You can go find a lot of different improv type of games to play with others, online, and there's some other resources you can actually find in order to do those things. But there's also some very simple improv games that you can actually play. You can get with a group of people, it can be somebody in your family, your friends. You can even do this virtually, since we're in this social distancing type of environment, and play one of the games that says yes, and this game is actually focused on you telling a story with a group of other people, but everybody has to start with yes, and it actually has to flow in some way. So the first person will start the story off. The next person who talks is actually going to say yes, and add to that story. So the purpose, again, in any improv type of game is tell some creative type of story and bring a scene to life based on what's happening right now. You've got to pay attention to what someone's saying in front of you, and you've got to, think of something creative quickly, to keep the story moving along. So why does that matter in an entrepreneurial concept? Well, there's a lot of times that we're going to be on the spot as entrepreneurs, and we've got to answer questions, do it in a fast way, and a very effective way as well. This could be something as simple as being on the phone with a customer who's asking a question that no one's ever asked you before, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I've got to answer that now. I've got to come up with something quickly. You're not going to make it up, but you are going to use some of those skills just like you would in an improv type environment to address that customer's issue. Simultaneously, if you're pitching to an investor, whether it's something like a pitch competition or you're actually pitching to investors in person and they've got a lot of tough questions for you, it can really help you in those question and answer type of sessions to really think critically and do that in a quick manner. So there's a lot of aspects like that that can be helpful for us into bettering our communication skills as entrepreneurs and improving those things over time. Some other, quick tips and elements. When you're giving presentations, always be aware of your own stage presence. When you're actually speaking with people, how do you actually look? Do you look nervous? Do you look distracted? Are you all looking around, looking at other things? That can be challenging. And this is both in our digital environment and also our in-person environments. You don't want to be on some kind of a web call and always looking to the side and always be distracted in some way. So you've got to pay attention to some of those kind of things. Also, if you're doing some kind of a group presentation as an entrepreneur, be careful of what many call the dance. There's a lot of people that like to sway and dance and do those kind of things. If you're not the one speaking, just calmly stand, and pay attention to the person that's actually talking, beside. You don't have to, dance and sway, and it starts to get a little bit distracting. I mean, if there's a good song you have in your head, it can be helpful, but at the same point in time, you've got to stay calm. Try not to be nervous. You got to have a lot of confidence in yourself when you're talking about this thing that you're passionate about. And entrepreneurs have so much passion about their new innovations that sometimes it's hard for them to contain, that excitement. So you've got to be aware of those things as well. So there's a lot of other things that we can do from a communications perspective. That's just a few things that may be helpful to you in some way. If you're looking for anything to help out with any of these things, please let me know. I'm happy to help out, and good luck.